he doesn't have never seen a monkey before. He's never seen a dog before. He doesn't know what a TV is, and like many other things that aren't contained in the term black.
Yeah.
That's where the problem comes in. So it's okay to see color. I mean, I've heard different argument like I don't see color. I think that's just bullcrap.
Coming here is like a shift of identity. So I question myself like, oh, is this like the authentic me, or I only have 1 year left, and I have to identify like, oh, okay, like what environment is good for me, what environment do I fit with, and like what kind of culture do I want to be in, what kind of people do I want to be surrounded by. So I really I'm struggling with that.
You can tell that I'm like in pain right now.
My name is Maxwell. I use he, him pronouns. This is my second year PhD in plant pathology. I am from Nigeria. I can speak Nigerian Pidgin, Ika, and I can hear Yoruba, a little bit of Hausa and Igbo. That's a really loaded one. What I was going to use. So that's loaded. Well, I mean, I'll probably just scratch the top of it, because maybe just talk about how racial identity has like played in my experience here.
Sure.
So basically, when I was thinking about the question, I kind of felt that I don't necessarily understand the Black American story fully, given that I moved all the way from Nigeria, somewhere in West Africa, to the U.S. I don't understand the Black American story, but that doesn't give me. It doesn't tell me apart from the average Black person, because whoever's looking at us is not gonna see any difference. He's Black, they're Black, and most times people just lump us in the same situation, and it's kind of weird because I don't even know the racial tensions that have gone on here, at least to a great extent. I don't know how much the Black Americans have suffered. I mean, I've seen the new shows and news and whatnot. I get some of their concerns, but I don't feel it like they are, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes if I'm talking and it seems like I'm not expressing their views, and it'd be like he's maybe like disconnected or something, which is actually true. I'm kind of disconnected from their stories, but the other people don't see that. So that's kind of like, it's kind of clunky for me, because considering George Floyd's death, I mean, I came here in early 2020 and think
a turbulent time to come to America.
And during the BLM crisis and all the protests and what was going on, and it was hard to be like physically identified with these people but can't internally feel it, because people are in the street. I think I joined one of the protests, but people will just say, oh, he's Black and technically he understands, but for the most part I probably didn't. And also, if I'm going on campus, I just reason the fact that I am Black. This police officer, if he's gonna do something like they've done to people that I've seen on Twitter and the news or somewhere, they're not gonna know, oh, he doesn't know what's going on in this country, he's not even here. They're just gonna export that identity on me, and I can't clean off that I'm Black. I am Black. I mean, I like my color, I'm proud of it, but the environment here and how people like me have been treated in the past is just going to get exported on me too. And that's kind of like affected how I see police officers, and I say, like, oh, step back. I'd be like, I mean, technically I'm not supposed to be afraid of them, but I mean, I'm Black, they're not going to care if what's going on or whatnot. Like, so thinking about those things really, I think it affects how I've presented myself in this campus.
Yeah, that's true. It must be quite like weird that people here. It's not that I understand why, because I feel like the conversation around Black identity and Black experiences revolves around the American Black experience.
Yes.
And it's something that you can't relate to because you are not American.
But you're also expected to like you're almost expected to understand it, even though you're not related to it, just because your skin is Black, even though it has nothing to do with you.
Yes, exactly.
So that, personally, I find that like an incredible thing to say. It's something that I personally have never taken into account, like recognizing my white privilege. I've never had to think about that. And so I just want to like echo what you said was amazing, and it really just, you've given me like a shocker moment and something to really think about from going forward.
It's pretty deep. Yeah, there's a
very deep.
popular Nigerian writer, Chimamanda Adichie.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she talks about this.
She's so perfect. I love listening to her talk.
Yeah, she talks about this a lot. She calls it like the differences between the Black American and the American African. So the African American and the American African, and she tries to like break those two things apart, and how she was like, you don't expect me to understand your 400 years of slavery. I know it happened, but I don't feel it. And they'll be like, no, you're all Black and you should. So she really teases these ideas apart. And it's funny here because I can actually write it on my forehead that I'm not African American.
Yeah.
I'm Black. And I was watching a movie, I think Bob Weds Abishal, I think it's a series. And one comment a white person said on the show was, the white people are not going to care if you're Black American or African. They're just going to see you're Black, and they'll make whatever generalizations they're going to make. And so that really, like, yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, I get why people will just look at you, you're Black, and assume, but it's helpful for people to put these things into context. That, okay, the fact that they're Black does not necessarily mean they have these experiences. I mean, just talk to people. Like, get to know people. Don't just generalize. And like other identities that you can probably hide, or I mean, not necessarily hide or disguise, or some of these other identities, they're not necessarily apparent in the way you present yourself or the way you are. But I can just sit somewhere and someone just looks at me and he's Black and just make their generalizations. But people can just look at me, that they're not gonna know if I'm gay or straight. They can't necessarily make whatever conclusions. But my color already.
I think it's really interesting because you're talking about a mindset shift, like a comprehensive mindset shift in the way that we like make associations when we look at people for the first time. Because based on what you're saying and what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the way that you're describing that is like, it's the first thing that people notice about you is your skin color, like immediately.
Yeah, of course.
And then beyond that, that's when they will start to recognize your heritage or your language or your culture. But no matter what, like based on what you're saying, is like the first thing that people see when they look at you is your skin color. And they make those primary associations first before even diverting into all of the differences among those associations. Just like you were saying that, in America, there's like, Black people are Black people are Black people, and then after we like see that or acknowledge that, then we have those diversions to like either the Black American or Black international students, Black Nigerians, all of these other things. And I think it's really interesting, and I'm hopeful that this will happen at some point, that the first thing that we notice when we look at people is not skin color, because there's so many associations can be made incorrectly. I mean,
I think it's okay to notice skin color. Personally, I think it's fine if it's something you notice as the first thing. But what I don't think is okay is having those baggage like attached to that identities. I mean,
you just said what I was trying to get out.
I'm definitely Black. You should see that I'm Black when you see me. But don't add, okay, he's Black and many other things that aren't apparent. Like, you just notice I'm Black, and that's okay. That's true.
Yeah.
You notice my color, fine. But having to add other experiences, other identities, like, okay, he's probably from this place. He have never seen a monkey before. He's never seen a dog before. He doesn't know what a TV is. And like many other things that aren't contained in the term Black. That's where the problem comes in. So it's okay to see color. I mean, I've heard different arguments, like, I don't see color. I think that's just bullcrap.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's okay to see color, but don't attach weird things that aren't apparent in color to it.
Thank you for articulating what I was trying to get out and could not find the words to say. Because that's what I was trying to go for, is, I absolutely agree with you. We should 100% see color, but making sure that, like, not making those, unfettered associations just because of that color.
Yep.
So that's a deep topic, guys. We're digging in. All right, let's lighten it up a little bit if that's possible. So another heavy question.
I mean, Midwest people would think they're very welcoming and courteous, I guess. So, like, that's, on the average, I'd probably say I felt welcome. But there have definitely been times where I've not felt welcome. In Madison, and probably UW. And I think typically I'll make reference to some example. I mean, these examples really stick out to me because I'm a researcher, so I make comparisons. I try to like compare things that happen. I don't know. Sometimes I'll talk to people and they'll just ignore whatever I say. Like, it just be like, I didn't say anything. It'd just be like, maybe wind blew or something. And I'll be like, didn't I say something? Or why are they ignoring me? And yeah, sometimes probably they didn't hear what I said. But other times when I'm with somebody else that's not black and the person talk, they'll also pay attention and respond to those persons and leave me behind. Then I'm like, okay, this is clearly avoidance. This is clearly, you're not welcome here. You shouldn't be talking, or maybe you're talking but it's irrelevant kind of thing. So yeah, so things like that have happened in the past, like 2, 3, 4 times. Yeah, a couple of times it's happened to me, and I'll talk. I'm like, then I also go with somebody else and I say this exact same thing and see if they're gonna respond to you. And other times they'll respond to them and not me.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's okay. I mean, I already
Yeah.
I already accepted it. It's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's.
And like the because this is also like another thing that was brought up. I guess I'm just trying to like draw connections to like other experiences being shared with me. It seems like for students from South Asia, like Indian students, they, because of like not even like, it's not an issue of their language or like how they speak like English, but it's also because it's mostly because they think American students or like local students here just don't bother engaging with students who are not like, you know, within, like, who are not to them like relatable, because they know there's such a like a bridge like a between their understanding of the other person. They don't want to make that effort or work to understanding because they feel like they're either scared of like making mistakes or making assumptions or treating them wrongly. And to avoid that whole mess, they kind of like just not make the effort of like making friendships or engaging with people who are not themselves. I think that could be like an explanation behind why people don't make an effort to like engage with you or like have like a conversation with you.
I mean, I don't think, maybe I didn't explain what I was talking about well enough. It's not that people don't converse with me or make conversations. It's more like, say we're in a group and we're talking, then I ask a question, and maybe the person that's supposed to respond just ignores it and continues saying something else.
Oh,
so it's not technically like, oh, we're not making friends to a random stranger. No, it's not things like that.
They're just straight up ignoring you.
Yeah. I mean, at least that's how I perceive it. Sometimes maybe they didn't hear me, or maybe someone else was talking. Because other times I've also heard someone say, "Could you say that again?" And I'm like, okay, this person is interested. Maybe he didn't hear me properly. So, but other times, some people would just like straight up ignore. Like, I don't care.
I mean, rude people exist everywhere.
That is true.
Which is, I personally can't stand rude people. I have such a low tolerance for rude people. It's not even funny.
Shopping. So, going to a grocery store, typically, to do it here, you don't need any human contact necessarily. You just go, pick what you want, get out. You don't have to talk to anybody, maybe except the person that's like checking you out. But
well, if you do self-checkout, you don't have to talk to
anybody. Yeah, if you do self-checkout, yeah, exactly. So, but it's kind of different from what I'm used to, because I'm used to a lot of bargaining. So if we go to the market to buy groceries, you definitely talk to someone that's selling the produce, and they'll tell you this how much they can sell it. You tell them how much you can offer, and you just keep going back and forth until you arrive at the price that you like.
So rather than shopping at an entity like Walmart or Target, you're shopping with an individual person and having to bargain on that one-to-one as opposed to with a company.
On the average, yes. Yeah. So there are like companies like Walmart. I mean, not Walmart. There's no Walmart in Nigeria, at least to the best of my knowledge. But there's ShopRite. There's like these malls type of companies that have shops where you just go pick what you want, kind of like the system here. But on the average, most people wouldn't go to those for like day-to-day. Why? I think they might be more expensive, and they might be like concentrated in like city centers. So the average person would have to like go a long while to get to those kind of places than the closest shop that just right by your house. You don't have to go so far.
Do you think the produce would be better on a one-to-one like purchasing environment, or do you think that it would be I don't know. Do you think that it's better to purchase your items from that one-to-one experience? Do you get a better deal? Like, what's the
better deal for sure, because you can get off with. I mean, it has its pros and its cons.
Okay.
If you're a good bargainer, you can get off with like get really huge for so less. But if you're not, you can also get cheated. So there's
Right, okay. It's kind of like a game.
yeah, it is a game. So it's like a skill. You have to learn how to
Right.
bargain and get good produce
Yeah.
out. Yeah, it is a skill.
It's a
At
lot more
what age
interesting
do
than
you-
shopping at Walmart.
At what age do you start learning how to bargain for those groceries? When did your parents teach you to do that?
I mean, as early as you start going to buy things by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go with your parents, you see them, how they negotiate, and you can probably, when you go by yourself, or they can just watch you and see how you do it. Then when you're trying to like conclude on a price that you think is not good, and you go, no, let's talk more.
Wow.
I'm 24 years old, and I can tell you right now, I don't know how to bargain at all. I will just concede everything.
I'm too scared.
I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the malls here work in Nigeria.
Right.
People like you, they would say you get cheated a lot because you're like, oh, she doesn't want to bargain. They can just something that technically may cost $10. They can just tell you, oh, it's $70.
Wow.
Yeah, people can start off that way,
That's
and so
crazy. Because they expect you to bring them down.
yes, that's
Yeah.
So for starters, what I do, I typically slash the price by half.
Okay.
So if someone tells me something, I just go half the price. Then they'll be like, no, that's too low. Then I'll go up a little bit, and they'll be like, this is what I can do. And, yeah, so
Gotcha.
it's a skill, I guess, and yeah. Like I said, if I wasn't chasing career goals or finances like money, I'd be in Nigeria within the twinkle of an eye.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? I mean, it's only my career goals, getting my PhD, and
Right.
probably making money, making a better life for
Sounds
myself.
like you're looking forward to go home.
Of course.
Happy that you are.
Yeah,
like that's your home.
Yeah, I mean, it's way better there.
Do you have a job while you're working as a grad student? Are you working a job as well?
No, I mean, as an international student, we're not allowed to work outside university.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's my question.
Yes.
Are you choosing to work on campus?
I'm a research assistant in my lab, so
Yeah.
where I do research, I get paid some stipends off of that.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect. We can go ahead and wrap
Nice
up. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming and being
Thanks
on the
for
show, Maxwell.
having
We
me.
really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
That's fine.
And
I love talking with you guys.
we love talking to people in general. Wafa and I are both
Right.
very talkative
Yeah.
people.
My name is Lam, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And right now, I'm a senior student at the Wisconsin School of Business, majoring in marketing. And my country of origin is Vietnam. I feel really lucky because when I first came to the U.S., my roommate was an Asian American student. So she really helped me. She understand the part of Asian culture and also the part of American culture. So she really helped me understand, how the both sides interact with each other. And I was really lucky to have her as my roommate.
Right.
And she really taught me a lot about how people communicate here, because even though when I was like a little kid,
Right.
I watch a lot of things about like how America is like, how being in the US is like, but I would say that like coming here is a totally different experience. So I was really lucky to have a friend who connects me with different communities, introduce me to different cultures, while also help me tie back to where I come from as well.
Right. Was your roommate Vietnamese American?
So she was Chinese American.
Okay.
But she grew up in China before she
Okay.
moved here, so she really understand how it was like back in Asia as well.
That's very helpful because you could like maintain like being Asian and like still having someone who understands your roots.
Exactly.
Or at least part of your roots.
I would say that the biggest thing that shook me the most was the fact that when I first came to the U.S., I came to Texas to visit my family there. And,
Oh, you have family in Texas?
and the food portion was huge.
Is this
And-
your close family or you have like extended family members who live in Texas?
They're my extended family members.
Okay.
So like when I was in Texas, the food portion was so big. And I'm like, okay, is this how like people eat in the US?
Right.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
are that hungry. But like, I mean, I enjoy it here because it's like I buy a big dish for $10 and I could eat it for both lunch and dinner.
Exactly. I usually just like get some food and just like eat it for both lunch and dinner because I can't finish
everything. For sure. And the portions should be big considering how sometimes pricey the food can be.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other like shocking things about being in America that you, or like any differences that caused your experience to not like adjust to America or like American culture a bit hard? Was there anything that's like difficult?
Yeah, so like growing up, because I was majoring in English back at my country, so I always like read a lot about American culture, read a lot about like American politics. But coming here is a totally new experience, especially when you get to like experience all of the things people say on the internet yourself. You know, from racial issue, you see that like during your daily life. In Vietnam, we don't have a lot of, talk or conversation about race because in Vietnam, we don't have a lot of foreigners. We don't have a lot of, people from different race, ethnicity. So coming here I really opened my eye about racial issues, human rights, and, women issues. And I love that about, being in the U.S.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I came here and I feel like I look up to the people who work with mutual aid, people who organize protests and like constantly do the work to educating the community. I feel like they're like very great at their work and very powerful people that I learn a lot from. Also in academia, like you see like how we have like something like gender studies, a gender studies department. It's not something that we have in Malaysia. Is there like such thing as a gender studies department in like academic institutions in Vietnam?
I don't say that we do have, but it's something that we definitely discuss. But I feel like even when like there's always a taboo in Asia about like you cannot discreetly talk about your bodies, right? You cannot talk about sex, you cannot talk about race, anything considered about your identity, your self, your body would be considered sensitive,
for sure.
So people don't really talk about it, and being here, being able to open up my my mind and open up myself to discuss about those issues helped me understand how the issues really like play out in real life, and also help me to understand about myself as well.
For sure. This was something that came up with my conversation with the other international students who recorded before you. They also agreed that like one of the greatest things that happened to them coming to America is that they were provided the tools and the knowledge and the vocabulary to actually understand human rights discourse a lot better and like explore topics that they weren't allowed to back home. So I think I share the same feeling of like gratefulness. Yeah, thank you for sharing about that.
I think that's an awesome question. I think my style have evolved a lot since I come to the US, and people like my friend back in Vietnam can definitely see that as well. Whenever I dress a certain way, like some certain people would like comment about how I dress, and
back
I would
like
so I would like somehow internalize that from childhood to adulthood. Even though there are a lot of people complimenting me like, oh, I like the way you dress, etc., you will still like internalize some of the bad comments directing at you, right? But I feel like coming to the US, because now I am more dependent, I live away from my family, so I need to be stronger. I need to be more mature and deal with criticism better. So that's why like I feel like the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I address myself, and speak on like issues are really like different.
So you feel like when you come here, you feel like you're a more authentic version of yourself. So you can dress the way that you couldn't back home. If you don't mind me asking, like, but what do you mean by negative comments that people make back home? Is it are they like sexist comments about the way you dress? Is it like because you dress immodestly by their standards, or is it because you dress bold and you're fashionable and people want you to tone it down? How is it? Like, what does it look like?
So I think that I am very lucky to have friends who always, encourage me to dress however I want. So back home, I usually want to like go all out with my clothes. I really like dressing in like bold color.
Right.
I always want to dress like in like very colorful style, floral, etc.
Yeah. I could see that. Your necklace.
Yes, right. And then some people would come to me and say like, oh, you're doing too much. You're doing too much for like the attention. You're doing too much for, why are you dressing like this? This is not a fashion show. That's something that...
Do you experience that here in UW?
I would say sometimes, but not as much as in
interesting.
in Vietnam. Yeah. So, I think like definitely because in the American culture, they, support your individuality, so that's why I can express more of that. But that comes with a cost as well, because as I've always grown in Vietnam, I'm so used to the Vietnamese culture. Coming here is like a shift of identity. So I question myself like, oh, is this like the authentic me, or am I changing, or is it like changing?
Experiencing the same thing. It is such a conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So is that something that you've like been thinking about a lot lately?
Yeah. So I'm graduating, and the question that people always ask me like, oh, what's your plan? Are you coming back to Vietnam, or are you staying in the US? And this makes me think a lot because I only have 1 year left, and I have to identify like, oh, okay, like what environment is good for me, what environment do I fit with, and like what kind of culture do I want to be in, what kind of people do I want to be surrounded by. So I really I'm struggling with that.
You can tell that I'm like in pain right now because that's too highly specific.
Yeah,
I feel you. I feel that's exactly what I'm struggling with right now. I have like 7 months left in America, and I'm like,
exactly.
Where do I go?
I know. Yeah, and like whenever you mention that you're a senior, like people would ask you that question right away, and so I know.
Please don't. If you see me and you know that I'm a senior, just shut your mouth. Stop asking us where we're going, what we're gonna do, because we don't want to say it. We don't want to talk about it.
We don't even know yet. We don't even know.
No.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's incredible. It's nice to hear from somebody else that like this is like a common kind of like conflict. Wow. Yeah, I feel the same way. Now that you've mentioned, I might as well plug in an event we're putting up through my committee with SOPO. That is just for you. I feel like it's your cup of tea, like right down your lane. We're putting together a multicultural and international student fashion showcase. So it is dedicated to celebrating campus fashion by students who are from other countries. So, and we will have you heard of Moda magazine?
Oh, yes.
We're collaborating with them. They will be there. The
That's
photographers
so
will be there
cool.
to take pictures of you, and if you consent to being featured on a magazine that they release,
oh my god,
you could. So, because I resonate with that kind of like struggle of like feeling judged for dressing up, and I feel like a lot of students here, I feel like there's more people out there who come from different countries, like from East Asia, who like to wear bold streetwear, constantly feel like, oh, not comfortable enough doing it and dressing up to school, because I've definitely seen memes and heard like people talk about like, oh, look at all those international students.
Exactly.
They're treating school like a fashion show.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I understand it. Some people prefer functional clothing over fashionable clothing, but some of us hold that close to our identity. You know, it's like what we wear. It represents where we come from, represents our interests and passion. So it's nice to hear that you two enjoy dressing up, because we're putting together this event, which you are very much invited to.
Aww.
So yeah, more posts about that coming soon. But we'll continue asking you more questions because we'd love to hear more about what you have to say.
As I've told you, I was very lucky to have my friend who was, Asian American, who included me in a lot of, activities, student organization for those Asian American students, and also, just any activities in general for American students as well. So I was really lucky to I feel like I am welcome in the communities that I have went to. And actually I'm right now I'm the president of the Vietnamese Student Association.
You are the president of the Vietnamese Student Association.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I'm actually like the first international student to be so.
Really?
So I feel more than welcome, more than honored. I feel
That's
really
amazing.
privileged, to be able to, be in that position.
Yeah.
But walking on the street, not everyone know that okay, she's like in the student org. She's
Right.
trying to be friend with people.
For
She's
sure.
trying to socialize.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. I didn't know you were the president of the VSA. Actually, my marketing AD will actually send out a formal invitation to each multicultural org. So you will receive then more details about the event soon. But we invite the whole of VSA to be there.
Oh,
it'll be
that's
very
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Glad to know that you love fashion. I love fashion too, and I think
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Your dress, the way you dress is bomb, girl.
No, I could see your nails, your eyeliner. I could see that you have
You gotta teach me how to do your eyeliner though. It's so cute. It's so
I could teach you. Yeah, we could do a little tutorial, YouTube tutorial, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. It was very nice to meet you. We'll see each other again soon.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That was great.
Wow, that was fast.
I know.